Why? This is a question that I suppose we will come across every single day. I remember when I was small, I used to always ask my parents, why can't I play video games and why do I have to do homework instead? Yeah, why? We as humans, we love to ask questions, usually accompanied with the term, why? So let us conduct a simple social experiment here. Please raise a hand if you have not asked a why question ever before in your life. Anybody? Well, most of us don't. And the reason why is that we as humans, we crave explanations. And only with explanations given to us will we be able to satiate our hunger for knowledge. So, back to the question, why can't I play video games? When I ask the question, why can't I play video games? The responses I normally get are, well, you can't play video games because they are bad for you, and that you have to do homework because they are good for you. So to any one of you who have encountered this type of responses before, how do you feel about them? Do you think they are good explanations? Well, to me, they are not. But wait a minute. What is a good explanation? And how do we even define and quantify the term good? Hello, my name is Henry Ho, and today I'm going to share with you what a good explanation is, and also the importance of curiosity. So back to the answer of the question, what defines and quantifies the term good explanation? Well, for this, I would say that it depends. And it just needs to depend on the person receiving that information. For example, a 2.5-year-old would not require citations from peer-reviewed scientific journals in their explanations of gravity. And likewise, a theoretical physicist would deem explanations of gravity in kindergarten textbooks oversimplified. This shows that different groups of people have different perceptions of a good explanation. But wait a minute, how is it good though? Well, for this I would use a more relativist explanation and say that it's a subjective one. And a good explanation just needs to be one that fulfills what one expects in the explanation that they receive. So what do I mean by this? I'll illustrate this in the context of playing video games earlier. When I ask the question, why can't I play video games? I expect in the explanation that I receive an explanation that is able to reasonably justify the badness of video games. For example, one could quote Harvard Health and say that, well, according to Harvard Health, gaming is associated with obesity and psychological problems. But instead, I receive none of that, and it's bad for me without any other more elaboration, which makes it a bad explanation for me. So, given that a good explanation just needs to be one that fulfills what one expects in the explanation that they receive, does it necessarily make it true? Well, no. What if, in the explanation that I receive, I expect it to fit into my already held belief? And what if my already held belief is that the earth is flat? So, when I ask the question, why does the horizon appear flat in this picture? For me, a good explanation would include the point that the earth is flat. But does that make it true? Well, no. According to astronomy.com, there is overwhelming evidence that points towards the fact that the earth is not flat. And based on that, we can reasonably conclude to a very high degree of certainty that the earth is not flat. But see, if you say what I want to listen, I would deem what you said a good explanation. So given that a good explanation does not have to be true, is there a way for us to make it sound more true? Well, there is, and it's called science. According to the Pew Research Center, about 2/3 of US adults say that science has had a mostly positive effect on society, and that only 7% of US adults say that science has had a mostly negative effect on society. What if you tell me that there is scientific evidence that shows that the earth is flat? Will it make it more true? Well, objectively, of course not, but subjectively, the earth being flat is more of a fact for me than ever before, as the word science conveys authority and, most importantly, factuality, and it is able to shield any arguments from scrutiny. So, nowadays, misinformation is everywhere, and there are some that are particularly dangerous as they are disguised as facts, so that people can take them as the truth. Has there ever been a time when you are unsure about whether something is true or not? It seems true to you, but is it really? Have you ever thought of why such information exists and what purpose do they serve? And also, why would people even want to spread misinformation in the first place? Well, I shall leave you to answer that question for me. So, how do we not get affected by misinformation? Well, it's easy. Just be curious. That's it. I'm not asking us to just go straight ahead and doubt every single thing we encounter, because that is unrealistic and also very, very, very tiring. So instead, I'm just asking us to think critically about any alternative explanations out there that better explain something. And at the same time, be open-minded and question, is this the best explanation that explains something? And whenever we are unsure about whether something is true or not, we should always corroborate it with reputable sources. Even if something makes intuitive sense to us. I know, it's hard not to accept something we find plausible at first glance, but think what we might in turn get. A more independent thinking that is less likely to be affected by falsehoods. Dear audience, in the 21st century, we've seen the rapid rise of artificial intelligence, and with that, misinformation too. The reason for this is due to the inherent complexity of the workings of artificial intelligence. And people can easily use that to shield their falsehoods from scrutiny. So, but what if I told you there's a way for us to discern and identify those misinformation? What if there is a way for us to reject falsehood before accepting it? And what if there is a way for us to think more independently? And what better way to do that than by just always being curious? According to an article published in Scientific American by Kerry Arnold, straightforward efforts to combat misinformation have the potential to backfire. But again, I'm not asking us to just go straight ahead and doubt every single thing. Instead, our independent thinking comes as a byproduct of our curiosity. If we remain curious, we'll not only know more about the things around us, we'll also be less likely to be affected by misinformation. So from now on, why not be curious and let our minds be victorious? Thank you for listening.